Apologies. Now, I'm going to see how this goes. My apologies. There's a lot going on. The weather. Just work with me, please. Um, Today we're going to discuss a few things. Yesterday we talked about, yes, we talked about the suspects, okay, in Las Vegas as well as New Orleans. We talked specifically just to kind of give a little update. Well, not an update, but just a review of what we talked about. We talked about the suspects that I'm going to show. We talked about this gentleman, the New Orleans suspect. Hello, Joe Black. Thank you for coming in. Hello, Joe Black. Joe Black says, "Good morning, Cross fam. Let's go." Shout out to Joe Black. Shout out to Cross fam. Joe Black says, "Good morning." Hello, Cross fam. Much love, Cross fam. And thank you guys for coming in. My apologies for coming late. Shout out to Tracy. Oh my goodness. I feel the love. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Today Cross fam says I'm on listening, but working says, okay, look, but thank you for coming in. Hit that like button. Says Grand Rising. Hello, Tracy. Hello, Joe Black. Hello, Cross fam. Now, yesterday we had a conversation about the suspects of Las Vegas. Matthew Livingberger. You guys should know his name like just on the top of your head. And also we talked about this gentleman, Mr. Barr, who was the suspect of the New Orleans incident. Both of those incidents happened on New Year's Day. Okay, and I want to make sure I show the gentleman, okay, Mr. Matthew Livingberger. He's been making headlines. I talked about him, okay. Now, but before we start, I got to talk about the fair use copyright disclaimer to cover myself, okay, Fair use copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commenting, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Now, today, we're going to talk about, of course, the outcome, or should I say the effects of an elected president becoming the official president January the 20th. Yes, things have been in motion when it comes down to other countries. And one of the things that has transpired is we're going to talk about it. Okay, Canada, specifically Canada. How has Canada, gotten their feathers in a fluff? Hello, Narendra. Joe Black says, heading back to New Orleans Friday. I'm moving back. Wow, congratulations, Joe. Congratulations. And my prayers go out to all of the New Orleans. And also, not only prayers, but you guys have Super Bowl coming up, right? Super Bowl is coming in. The event in New Orleans. So shout out to New Orleans. And Narendra, shout out to India. Narendra says, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power he made. And thank you guys for coming in. Now, Narendra, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this Prime Minister of Canada, because he got his feathers in a fluff since Donald Trump has, he did a press conference. Donald Trump, he is the elected president, okay? He is the elected president. And Monday, to confirm what I'm speaking of, he was recertified. So we're going to talk about Donald Trump being recertified, the effects, okay, of him. As what? Yes, not Justin Bieber, Narendra. But yes, the Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, yes, he has, quote unquote, resigned. We're going to talk about that. as well as an act that was passed by the House of Representatives yesterday called the Laken Riley Act. Okay, in response to the actions, let's just be honest. What happened? We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it now. First, we're going to talk about Laken Riley. Who is Laken Riley? Laken Riley was a victim to an illegal, undocumented immigrant. Joe Black says, oh, Mustang Justin. He was mad, lashing out. Yes, lashing out. Lashing out. Before we talk about that, I want to actually show a little clip of what happened Monday when it came down to Vice President Kamala Harris. Okay, she had to put her pride to the side and officially recertify Donald Trump. Right, she had to put her pride to the side. And while the reason I want to talk about that first is because that's leading into the House of Representatives signing this act. I want to actually show that first before I get into it, of Miss Kamala Harris. And thank you guys. Please hit that like button. Now, also, I'm going to do another live. I will be doing another live today. Now, this is just a clip of Miss Kamala Harris recertifying, and I also want to show who is sitting by with that smile. Mike Johnson. He was also reelected to be in the head of House of Representatives, Mike Johnson. So, as you can see, this is Kamala Harris. Another lie for did it. The Ranger says, again, a deletion of a young life by an illegal migrant. Yes. And the Laken Riley Act does have a lot to do with Kamala Harris because Kamala Harris is part of the Joe Biden administration. And we're going to talk about what this Laken Riley Act consists of, because this Laken Riley Act was talked about last year back in March, but they avoided pushing it forward because they did not want to have a government shutdown. As well, it was majority Democrat. But now, since the election has happened, November the 5th, we will have, as of coming up, okay, January the 20th, after January the 20th, you will have the House of Senate, House of Representatives, as well as the president himself. Donald Trump will be the Republican, and it will be overridden by the Republicans. So now, with that being said, what I'm going to show you right here first is Miss Kamala Harris putting her pride to the side Monday and certifying, okay, Donald Trump as the official president who basically beat her, okay, in the election November the 5th. And I'm going to play it right now. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button.
This is 538. Within that whole number, a majority is 270. The votes for Vice President of the United States are as follows. J.D. Vance, state of Ohio, has received 312 votes. Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota has received 226 votes. This announcement of the state of the vote by the President of the Senate shall be deemed a sufficient declaration of the persons elected, President and Vice President of the United States, each for a term beginning on the 20th day of January 2025, and shall be entered together with the list of the votes on the journals of the House and the Senate. Thank you very much.
Now, what you just saw, that was Vice President Kamala Harris. I don't know how she was able to do it, but she did it. She did actually officially recertify Donald Trump to be the president, and he will officially be in, as you heard, January the 20th. You officially heard it from her, right? So, and thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. And also, over this weekend, like I stated, Mike Johnson, he got into his position as head of Speaker for the House of Representatives. He won by 3. Yes, 3. Okay, 200, specifically 218 members of House of Representatives voted him to get back in to be the head. Okay, and so that is where we are at this point. Now, because of that, where do we stand? Well, one of the first bills that was signed off and passed, well, on the House of Representatives, because now it's going to be moved forward to the House of Senate. We'll see how that goes. Is, like I stated, and thank you guys for coming in, is, like I stated, the quote-unquote Laken Riley Act. For those who do not know who Laken Riley is or was, she was the college student, nursing student here in Georgia that ended up passing away by an undocumented illegal immigrant by the name of, and thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. And I want to make sure I show who I'm speaking of. This gentleman right here. Okay. His name is Jose Abrera. And February 2022, okay, of 2024, he deleted a nursing student by the name of Laken Riley here in Georgia while she was jogging. And the reason he deleted her, I'm trying to be very careful with my words, was because she fought him off. She fought him off because he was trying to, and that was determined by the courts in the ruling because he was found guilty. Okay, it was determined in the courts that he had tried to, let's just say he tried to fruit grape her. Okay, he tried to fruit grape her, and she fought, and he did not get what he want, and because of that, he ended up causing her to pass away. Okay, and the lady that you're looking at on the far right, her name is Laken Riley. This made headlines. And hello, you guys. Thank you, Joy. Thank you for coming in. Thank you, Child on Demand. Thank you, The Herbal Goddess. And hello, guys. This is Politic Graham. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Now, what you're looking at, this is why the Laken Riley Act was signed by the House of Representatives. This is the first bill that was signed since the president has been recertified, since we do have an official, well, Mike Johnson is back into his position as the Speaker of House. Okay, so this is one of the very first bills that is in act, and now it is being moved forward to the House of Senate for them to sign. Now, this particular act was discussed and mentioned, like I stated, last year back in March, in response to the incident that transpired February 22nd of last year by this undocumented illegal immigrant by the name of Jose Jose Antonio Herrera. Okay, and he was 26. He's a 26-year-old, well, was 26-year-old Venezuelan that entered the United States by with his wife. Okay, and that came to find out. She did an interview this last year, back in February. She did an interview stating that this is not the man that she married. She never knew this side of him, but according to his wife, she stated that back in September, and I want to be very accurate with my information. September of 2023, her and this undocumented illegal immigrant by the name of Jose entered the border, crossed the border, okay? And they crossed the border and they lived in New York City. Notice what I just said, ladies and gentlemen. New York City. And I'm gonna do another video about that, because there's a lot of things been going on in New York City when it comes down to quote unquote crimes, violence with homelessness, as well as undocumented immigrants. It has been a lot going on in New York. And when it comes down to this particular gentleman right here, according to his wife, they crossed the border back in September of 2023. They traveled to New York City, right? Hello, Elder. Elder says she was found great, fruit great. No, she was not found fruit great, because she actually prevented this. I'm trying to be very non-biased, but this illegal undocumented immigrant, okay, she actually fought him off, okay? So she was not found fruit great, okay? She prevented it. And because of that, okay, they tussled, and let's just say she's no longer here. Now, because of that, they were able to link him with her through surveillance cameras, also link her through DNA, also link the fact that he had some DNA. He throwed it in the trash can. It had all of beyond evidence to connect him with her demise in Georgia. Okay? And she made headlines on the Republicans as well as Democrats side because of this, as well as others. I want to make sure I show other Americans that were victims to undocumented illegal immigrants that had crossed the border, right? And this is why you have Donald Trump as well as majority Republicans standing on what? The first thing that Donald Trump has said that he will do is what? Deal with the border control. And prior to Donald Trump even being the now elected president for the second time, Republicans been trying to pressure the Biden administration into finding avenues and ways to deal with so much going on as far as this out of control when it comes down to the border, okay? Border control. And thank you guys for coming in. Yes, Narendra. Narendra says she was deleted because she fought him off. Absolutely. Yes. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Good morning, Joy. Good morning, Chonda Man. Narendra says, how about a bet? I'll bet Jose was a criminal record back in his home country and still wanted by the authorities. Now, I'm going to highlight that because according to, and that's why I brought his wife up. Okay, this gentleman's wife up. Okay, that's why I brought his wife up, because according to her, she said she never seen this side of him. She said she never seen this side of him. She said the man that she knew of was a very calm, person. She never seen this side of him. But according to her, she did say if he did do these things, he deserves to be punished. Okay, and that came out of his own wife's mouth. Okay, and her name, she's 23-year-old Leyland Franco. Okay, that came out of her mouth. His wife said that. Now, because of this, like I stated, and I'm going to just give a breakdown. He had been charged with 10 charges in total because of the actions that he committed on February the 22nd of 2024. Because of those actions that he committed, fast forward, going to slide it on over. Because of his actions that he committed, he ended up being found guilty of all charges, okay? Of all the charges. And because of him being found guilty, his sentencing, and some people might disagree with how he was sentenced, but his sentence was life in prison with no parole, no possible parole, right? That was his sentencing. And I also want people to understand the person that we're talking about. I want people to understand he did try to go for an appeal. Okay, he did try to go for an appeal. Yes, I cannot make this up. This illegal, undocumented immigrant that caused the passing of this American citizen who was a nursing student. Okay, she was a nursing student here in Georgia. He actually tried to go for an appeal. And this is after, just like I told you guys, they had surveillance cameras, okay, watching his step. Okay, the day that he committed this incident, February the 22nd of 2024, he's seen on surveillance camera trying to go to another person's door to go into their dorm, right? So these are things that they actually have proof and evidence of, but he's still trying to go for an quote unquote alleged appeal after being found guilty and after being sentenced and convicted of his actions of Miss Laken Riley. Now, when it comes down to this lady that we're talking about, she had made a huge, she didn't pass away in vain. And why I say she didn't pass away in vain? Because yesterday, day after Donald Trump gets recertified by the House, by the Congress, as they say, by the House of Representatives, of a vote of 264 to 159, the House of Representatives passed the Laken Riley Act yesterday. Okay, and out of that, only 48 Democrats voted and supported this act to pass. So I want you guys to kind of take that into account, that this act was being pushed, let's just be honest, by the Republicans. It was being pushed. And what does this act pertain to in honor and in honor of not only Laken Riley, but also any victims, the victims who were victims to the crime of undocumented illegal immigrants, right? Because we had that occur here. We had that occur in New York, right? We had that occur in New York by an quote unquote undocumented illegal immigrant. Recently, we talked about that. Come to find out, this undocumented illegal immigrant, allegedly person that he caused to pass away on the subway, she was also homeless, but she was a 57-year-old homeless American. Okay, so that's an update in regards to that incident. Now, with all this going on, I want people to actually see in regards to this act that was passed and now it's in the hands of the House of Senate. And this act that I'm talking about, what does this bill consist of? This bill consists of okay, requiring the detention of undocumented migrants charged with theft or burglary, right? That's the first thing. Also, it allows states to sue Department of Homeland Security for harm caused to citizens allegedly due to the actions of illegal immigration. Now, this is why a number of Democrats did not want to support this act. They did not want to support it because if we can go back, right? If we can go back, a lot of Republicans are pointing the blame on the Joe Biden administration. And a part of the Joe Biden administration, I'm going to go back and thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. A part of that Joe Biden administration, I want to make sure I show who is a part of that, is Miss Kamala Harris, okay, who is his vice president, who has been the vice president for 4 years, okay? So in response to that, this particular act that I'm talking about, the Laken Riley Act, like I stated, it will require the detention of undocumented migrants charged with theft or burglary. Also, it allows states to sue the Department of Homeland Security for harm caused by citizens allegedly due to the actions of illegal immigrants, okay, or immigration. And because of this act, if it passed by the House of Senate and it is signed by Donald Trump, this act could cause unauthorized immigrants to be charged with nonviolent crimes, okay, and could cause them to be deported. That's another reason why, quote unquote, Democrats were kind of wary of signing this act, because, as you guys know, all immigrants are not, quote unquote, bad or not illegal. So this is, to some Democrats, might seem a little bit inhumane, but I want people to understand this, right? Just like I just showed you the lady, Laken Riley, right? Because some would say the actions of this gentleman, Jose, on February 22nd of 2024 was not right. And she's no longer here because of this person right here, right? So Congress is just trying to step in and say something has to be done. Something has to be done immediately to kind of slow down what is going on. And I will discuss, and thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to go back into the comments. Hello, the Herbal Goddess. The Herbal Goddess says, hey, politic and chat. Northern Dame says, hey, Graham. Well, I'm not too late today. You caught me off guard yesterday. And look, I came. And thank you guys for coming in, reading the comments. Yes. And thank you. Hello, Child on the Man. Northern Dame says, I don't even know whom you're speaking on, Jose. Yes, Jose is an undocumented immigrant that was found guilty for 10 charges on the actions that he did with this American named Laken Riley, who was a nursing student in Georgia. She was jogging on the campus or off the campus near UGA, and she was actually approached by this gentleman, right? And because she fought him off, which she did, she fought him off because he tried to fruit grape her, okay, for YouTube purposes. I have to use that terminology. She ended up calling the police, trying to call the police, fighting him off, trying to fight him off, but let's just say she's no longer here because of what he did. But no, she was not fruit great, okay? Now, just like I stated, because because Republicans are very, in the midst about what's been going on over the years when it comes down to this lack of border control that has been going on, right? Lack of it. That is why we have this act called the Laken Riley Act, okay? And she really made headlines. This lady right here, she made headlines. People were protesting, you know, all because of the injustice that is still being done when it comes down to the mistreatment, or should I say, no action by administration, the current administration. And hopefully, when it comes down to this act, it will be officially passed by the House of Senate and signed by President, soon to be officially in as of January the 20th by the President Donald Trump, okay, to have some type of control. And thank you guys for coming in. And this is the gentleman that I'm talking about, okay, who did what he did. His name is Jose Antonio Herrera. Now, moving forward, I want to talk about, let me make sure I can go this way. Moving forward, I want to actually talk about the quote unquote, let me go down for you guys. Now, before I go to that, let me make a couple of more things about this particular gentleman named Jose. Okay, just like I stated, he was sentenced by the judge to life in prison without the possibility of parole. That was the maximum. Okay, and also, like I stated, he was charged with he had 10 charges on him. 10 charges. And this became a cry for immigration reform, okay, for many conservatives, as, like I stated, Republicans, such as President-elect Donald Trump. Now, there have been a little bit of going tit for tat, back and forth, between who's at fault. And remember when I said New York, okay? Because that's where Jose and his wife had went once they crossed the border. They went to New York City, and they ended up splitting up, breaking up, and that's when Jose ended up coming to Georgia, okay? Coming to Georgia to live with another gentleman. But while he was in New York, this is where it gets kind of iffy, as they say. According to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, they claimed that Jose, okay, was quote unquote had been arrested in New York, or should I say detained in New York, but was released. However, New York, they made a statement and said that was not the case. That was not true. So that's why I'll say this. It seems as if when it comes down to politics, people like to point the fingers, right? They like to point the fingers. And when it comes down to this lady's life, okay, it seems as if there's no accountability, right? There's no accountability. Because I'm telling you right now, my stance on this, my personal stance on this, I feel that this gentleman right here, Jose, he should have received more than just quote unquote life in prison. Okay? That's just my personal perception on that. He should have received more than that. Now, I'm pro-life. Okay? I am pro-life. But when it comes down to things such as this, and we're in a position where the government is not doing anything, because just like I stated to you guys, they did talk about this act last year, but it was put at a halt because the government wanted to avoid a government shutdown, right? They wanted to avoid it altogether. So that's why they waited until now, right? After the day after, just think about it. The very day after Donald Trump is recertified and is confirmed by, of all people, and that took a lot. I commend Kamala Harris for doing that, right? She confirmed the counts. She confirmed it. She confirmed that Monday. Okay? And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Now we're going to get to the juice, okay? Now, for those who don't know, when it comes down to Donald Trump and what he has been advocating for a while now, okay? He has been advocating, quote unquote advocating for a while when it comes down to what? Border control. And the people that he has put into the positions as far as his nominations go, specifically the person to deal with the border control, is this gentleman by the name of Tom Homan. Okay? And the gentleman I'm going to show you right now, he is supposed to be the border czar that he has nominated. Donald Trump has nominated to deal with being in control of this quote-unquote border control. Right? And thank you guys for coming in. Thank you guys for coming in. Now, it has made a number of headlines how people have been responding to Donald Trump's actions when it comes down to his Agenda 47, when it comes down to his first set of things that he would do once he gets into the White House officially January the 20th. And I want to make sure I show it to you guys specifically. Now, he has stated all this when it comes down to tariffs. If you guys don't know, he has been putting it out there that he wants to raise the tariffs 25% to the countries of Canada, Mexico specifically. He's also stated how he wants to claim back the Panama Canal. He wants to claim it back. He's also put out things such as, these are just things that he has put out and he stood on. Okay? Now, because he stood on that 25% increase in tariffs with Canada, okay, there has been a lot of things going on in Canada. And because of one of the reasons when it comes down with Donald Trump, I'll say that way, the Prime Minister, Justin, and I want to make sure I show who I'm speaking of, Justin Trudeau, he has officially announced his resignation. Yes, officially announced his resignation. And this is the gentleman that I'm talking about, who's the Prime Minister of Canada. And thank you guys for coming in. Thank you so much. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And I want to actually show, when it comes down to this gentleman that I'm speaking of, he resigned in the wake of Donald Trump. And why do I say that, in the wake of Donald Trump? Because Donald Trump has already put it out there, what's to come. And he has held a number of press conferences, okay, when it comes down to bringing businesses and companies back to here, America, okay? And he's given Canada and Mexico options. I'll say it on that level. He's given them options. And I'm going to actually show just a statement just to show how Donald Trump is quote unquote moving when it comes down to these tariffs as far as what he's speaking of, okay? Just to kind of give you an idea of how he is moving in response to the Biden administration and in response to these countries. Now, according to when it comes down with Donald Trump, he's stating that China is one of the countries that has been making the most money, the bulk from the United States, right? And he's also stated, when it comes down to not only China but Canada, Mexico are making the bulk of the money. So I'm going to read one of Donald Trump's posts just to kind of give you guys an idea of where he's standing. And this post was made by him on November the 25th of last year. I'm going to read a post that he did. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And Maz, I hope that you are handling business in the quote-unquote chat. Now, one post that he's mentioned, he said, I have had many talks with China about the massive amounts of drugs, in particular fentanyl, being sent into the United States, but to no avail. Representatives of China told me that they would insinuate their maximum penalty, that of deletion, for any drug dealers caught doing this. But unfortunately, they never followed through. The drugs are pouring into our country, mostly through Mexico, at levels never seen before. Until such time as they stop, we will be charging China an additional 10% tariff above any additional tariffs. Now, this, what I'm reading you, this is an actual post that Donald Trump put out there. And he further on says, on all of their many products coming into the United States of America, thank you for your attention to this matter. So we're looking at 3 countries. Okay, the first country is the country that this gentleman is the current prime minister of, that he announced his resignation, okay, this week. Monday, he announced his resignation, and this is Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Canada. The other 2 countries that Donald Trump spoke about are Mexico as well as China. And I want to make sure people understand the levels of just how heavy this is for China, because even when it comes down to Joe Biden, the Joe Biden administration, right? TikTok. Okay, I don't know who all has a TikTok, but a lot of people use TikTok. Why am I throwing TikTok into this? Because TikTok is based where? In China. And if you guys have been keeping up, Joe Biden, okay, last year, specifically back in April, and April is coming up. Last year, he gave TikTok a year to sell its company. A year to sell its company. Because even with this administration, they have already tried to, quote unquote, trying to put a ban on TikTok, a full ban on TikTok, right? And for those who don't know, it does not just play a factor with TikTok, because the company that TikTok is under, and people don't know this, but it is with the app called CapCut, okay? So people are wondering, well, if they put a full ban on TikTok here in America, does that also comply with the app CapCut as well? So I want you guys to just kind of just think about, the effects, okay? People are really wondering. Now, Donald Trump has already said he want to put a halt on this quote-unquote ban, and waiting for a year, for TikTok to sell its company, because April is right around the corner. April is right around the corner, right? And as you guys can see, since Donald Trump has officially became the elected president, okay, 47th president, look at everything that has been going on. You have people are running a muck. And what do I mean when I say running a muck? Okay? You have New York no longer providing vouchers to undocumented immigrants, right? You have New York, okay, dealing with their madness when it comes down to deploying guardsmen to subways to protect the citizens of New York, okay? Then on top of that, you have different governors, different Congress members. They are making statements and claims that Donald Trump is not going to control. And what I want to actually show this particular governor I spoke about. This particular Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, Democrat. He's one of many representatives that have made statements stating that Donald Trump is not going to control and tell them what to do. Okay, because if you guys know, Donald Trump has already put out there his stance on a lot of things, especially with the Agenda 47. But when it comes down to the Democrats, such as the Governor JB of Illinois, okay, he has already stated, and I want to make sure I reiterate that. He said, and I quote, when it comes down to Donald Trump, he said, despite Donald Trump's threat to health care coverage, an educational opportunity, and a fair minimum wage, Illinois will continue to invest in the well-being and prosperity of all our people. And in addition to that, he spoke about, I want to make sure you guys see, he also spoke specifically about, okay, women's rights, okay? He mentioned specifically Illinois is a safe haven for women seeking, okay, quote unquote, deleting babies, as they say, delete, okay? As far as women's rights to their bodies. This is what the governor of Illinois put out right after Donald Trump won on November the 5th, the week of November the 5th. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because people are all in a muck. And it's not just here in America, but it is a possibility that it's going to affect other countries. And that's how we go into how is Canada, or will Canada, as they say, be affected. Okay? Because, I want to throw this back out there, people are also scared of this person right here, Mr. Elon Musk. And there's been jokes. People have been joking, January the 20th, will the president be Donald Trump, or will it be President Elon Musk? People have been making jokes because Elon Musk behind the scenes has already been communicating with politicians. Specifically, he had conversations with this gentleman. Okay? This gentleman of Ukraine. And who is it that I just showed you guys? Elon Musk has already been having communications behind the scene with Donald Trump. And not only that, he even had phone conversation with Mike Johnson. Okay, recently, in trying to have a shutdown recently. Okay, and these are actions that Elon Musk has been doing behind the scenes when it comes down to trying to be hands-on. So much to the point, Mike Johnson himself had to step in and ask him, do you want to be the House? Do you want to be in Congress, House of Representatives, Speaker? Because when it comes down to Elon Musk, he's been very vocal, been very advocate on what he wants to do, where he wants the country to go when it comes down to a lot of things. But like I stated, a lot of people have been, picking, making jokes, saying when January the 20th come, will it be Donald Trump be the president, or will it be Elon Musk? because Elon Musk has been stepping on, as they say, a lot of people's toes. He's been stepping on a lot of people's toes. I will say it that way. Now, Canada, Justin Trudeau. Why did I say Trump versus Canada? Right? People have to understand when it comes down to this gentleman right here, Justin Trudeau. He spoke about it in his speech that he gave in the front of his house on Monday, stating he was going to resign. He spoke about that he's an advocate, and I want to make sure I'm accurate what I'm speaking of. He spoke about he's an advocate when it comes down to free trade. Okay, it's a lot of things that he's for that Donald Trump is saying, not today, sir. Not today, sir. Not today. Okay, so this particular gentleman, just like I stated, he did announce his resignation. However, he does have a number of controversies on his end. Yes, a number of controversies. And with Trudeau, okay, this is the same gentleman. A lot of people wanted him to resign, and not just Donald Trump. Okay, notice what I said. Not just Donald Trump, but a lot of people wanted him to resign based off of the actions that he's done or lack of in Canada. Okay. Now, when he made his announcement Monday, he gave Parliament, okay, and that Parliament is just like what is to us Congress here, okay. So basically, he said until March, okay, he has suspended Parliament. Basically, like what is Congress here for us? I'll say it that way. Now, with this gentleman, Justin Trudeau, he is still officially the prime minister, even though he announced his resignation. Okay? And why is he resigning? The reason, because so many Canadians have disapproved of his role as prime minister. And not only Canadians, but just like I stated, even with other countries such as Donald Trump here in America. And specifically, I want to make sure when it comes down to this gentleman, he has shown, I'm not going to say he's a quote-unquote racist. I don't want to put that out there. But he has shown some questionable actions upon himself ever since the year of 2000 that we're going to talk about. And this is one of the reasons the country of India they're not on the best terms. A lot of people in India are not on the best terms with him based on how they feel he has disrespected India when it came down to how he presented himself at an event, okay? How he painted his face, okay, back in 2000 at a gala party. And also how I want to make sure I'm accurate on this for you guys. Also how he has, I want to make sure I'm reading this. Oh, also how he made false claims that it was India that caused alleged other Indians to pass away in Canada, okay? Let's just say it that way. He made false accusations, okay? And also he expelled Indian diplomats from Canada. So these are just one of many reasons. You know, a lot of people like, okay, you want to resign, goodbye, okay? Somebody new, come in. When it comes down to Justin Trudeau, okay, he was facing deadlines this month, okay? One specific deadline was January the 27th. And January the 27th was where he had to have a conversation when it comes down to the needs of Canada, right? And we're going to talk about some of the controversies, some more controversies on his end, why he didn't want to meet that deadline of January the 27th in Canada. He didn't want to meet that deadline to discuss his leadership, to discuss concerns and conversations when it comes down to the needs of Canadians. He didn't want to meet that mark. But before we get into it, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And I'm going to play a little clip of this gentleman that I've been speaking of for a minute now. This Prime Minister. I'm going to play a clip or two of him.
I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election.
Now, notice what he said, internal battles. And that's what I was speaking of when it comes down to Canadians. A lot of Canadians and a lot of Canadians from within, again, they are ready for him to leave, okay? And it really hit home just how much disagreement, I would say, it is of him between Canadians and politicians within Canada. We're not even talking about the other countries here in America, India. We're not even talking about that. Just in Canada, right? His own, I want to show her, his own finance minister, okay, Miss Freeland, she put in her resignation notice. And this lady I'm talking about is this lady right here. She put in her resignation letter, okay? And in her resignation letter, she specifically stated her concerns, okay? And in addition to her stating her concerns with decisions that Mr. Trudeau had been making, okay, she stated that, well, you told me that you was going to replace me anyway as finance minister. You told me that. So with that, in addition to her saying that in her letter of resignation, okay, she had a lot of differences between when it comes down to the economic policies in Canada. She stated, and this is all before this year. This is all before this year. And that comes down with some other controversies. And one of the controversies a lot of people in Canada was very upset with him about was what transpired during the pandemic. Okay? During the pandemic. And what happened during this pandemic that we speak of, okay? This particular gentleman that you're looking at, he ignored people advising him with the decisions that he was making. And I want to make sure I show or speak on some of these controversies, as one would say. Okay? I get into that. Now, first controversy. Mid-2000s, it sparked controversy when it was revealed that he allegedly earned $1.3 million in public speaking fees from charities, okay, and school boards across Canada. Okay? He's getting money for himself from charities. And he's been Prime Minister. I want to make sure people understand this. How long he's been Prime Minister of Canada. He's been Prime Minister ever since 2015. We're in 2025. And also I want to discuss this particular controversy. This lady right here. I want to make sure you guys can see it. Her name is Rose Knight. And according to her, She stated when she was just 28 years old in August of 2000, he inappropriately touched. Okay, I'll say it on that way. Inappropriately. And when it comes down to Miss Rose Knight, she stated this in an interview in an article that this prime minister did this when she was just a 28-year-old teacher while working as a reporter on an assignment. Okay? These are allegations. Now, why am I speaking of this? Because in the beginning, he had denied all allegations of what Rose Knight had spoke about that transpired August 2000. Now, there has been discrepancy because from my findings, it said he had denied the allegations, and then other reports stated that he later apologized, but didn't directly apologize for doing anything, as they say. And I would call that, how Bill Clinton said, I did not, but then he ended up come to find out he did with Monica Lewinsky. Okay? But with Rose Knight, she said that she did not ask of the prime minister to do anything to her or touch her or anything, and it was without her approval. Okay? So this report, it happened in 2000, but just to let you guys know, you have to be careful how you move, because this came back to bite him in 2018. It came back. And the incident that happened all the way August 2000, right? It comes back to bite him August of 2018. And the lady that I'm talking about that stated that he inappropriately touched was this lady right here. Okay, Miss Rose Knight. That was one controversy. Another controversy when it comes down to, as one would say, painting your face brown. Okay, a lot of people was upset. And who was upset? India was upset. It made a huge ruckus even in Canada. Okay, 2018, Rose Knight, there's an interview. She's saying what happened back in 2000. Now we're moving forward. Next year, 2019, then some photos resurface of this prime minister painting his face brown at a gala. And this is the actual picture that ended up getting leaked, as they say. Okay? And that picture that I showed you, this was a picture that he took in 2001 at an Arabian Nights themed gala, okay? And he was playing an Arabian Night character in brownface. And that really made a lot of headlines. That really made people look at him very different. And he later on officially apologized, and he admitted to being and wearing a blackface, okay? So he apologized for his actions. But the question is, were those actions too little too late? Now, the next of the controversies, it goes to why his finance minister, Ms. Freeland, ended up resigning, okay? Last year, she ended up resigning from her position. Okay, and what was that? He ended up relying on increasing tax revenues. This is all what's going on in Canada. And people are wondering, is that going to happen here in America? People are wondering, is that what is going to happen here in America when January the 20th comes? But Donald Trump says, not on my record. Okay, don't put me with him. But this person that you're looking at, he is the current prime minister of Canada. He did increase revenue, okay, and this is during the pandemic. All what I'm talking about, this is what he's been doing the years of his his time as prime minister. But it really hit home, okay? It hit home when the pandemic came, right? Because a lot of people were out of a job. A lot of people were out of jobs. But even while people were out of jobs, he still increased tax revenues to supplement increased government spending. This is how he responded, okay, to the economic issues that were and are still going on in Canada. And like I stated, even after being warned about these consequences, right? Being warned, Justin Trudeau, he still continued to just increase tax revenues. And not only that, how does it come back to on Donald Trump's end? Remember I spoke about border control, right? He welcomed, it was a point where he welcomed, right? He welcomed newcomers to become both permanent and temporary residents in the year of 2022 and 2023. And those years he welcomed 1 million people, right? And according to reports, Justin Trudeau government announced that Canada would admit additional 500,000 immigrants each year by 2025. Why is it by 2025? Because this is the year that Justin Trudeau would have to go for re-election anyway. But he just went on ahead and decided to resign months prior to his term ending anyway. So now, remember what I said going back to, I want to make sure I show this person, going back to Donald Trump, right? Now, I just said Donald Trump has already stated that Canada on his end, in his mind, and in other people's mind, Republicans and other congressmen, Canada's going to have to get it in their head that if they don't follow the program, he's going to impose a 25% tariff, okay, on all Canadian products, okay? That's one thing. Second thing, mass deportation. The mass deportation Donald Trump has been speaking about, right? That would be the first agendas, right? As you can see, a part of his Agenda 47 to seal the border and stop, in his words, migrant invasion. You already have, even now in the present, during the Joe Biden administration, after Kamala Harris has lost, you have a number of immigrants, scared, be it illegal immigrants or legal immigrants. They are scared of what's to come when January the 20th comes in. So now, what happened in New York, I spoke about that with Eric Adams. He did say a lot of immigrants, they are self-deporting themselves. They are going back. And if they're they're leaving New York, leaving sanctuary states, right? They're either going to either going back to Mexico, or in this case, Canada. Okay? Because I just told you guys, okay, when it comes down to Canada, Justin Trudeau said, we're welcoming immigrants. We're welcoming immigrants. We're a free trade, right? He's stating all of this. So now it's coming into play. Donald Trump has became the elected president, right? And he's saying, here in America, we're going to seal the border. We're going to stop this migrant invasion. And if you don't believe me, I've already nominated this guy named Tom Homan, who was in my administration the first time when I was the 45th president. I promoted him to be border czar, and you have Tom already stating in his words, okay, he is basically going to send it. I'm gonna read exactly what Tom has put it out there. Okay, Tom has stated that families as a whole should be deported together. So that's giving you the heads up of what's the really pop off when the Trump administration comes in. So if Donald Trump has already nominated, and look, I'm not sure if he has been officially, picked and approved by Senate just yet, right? Tom Homan, this gentleman who was nominated by Donald Trump to be over the border czar, okay? And prior to that, he, in Donald Trump's prior administration, when he was 45th president, he was the former Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director back then, right? So you already kind of see or kind of have an idea of what may come. But how does this play a factor to Canada, right? And this is why a lot of people, I want to say it this way, a lot of people are upset with this gentleman, the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, because they had been giving him warnings, right? Our economy here, well, not here, I live in America, but our economy in Canada, the economic system is already a mess. You have people out of jobs. Then on top of that, since his position as Prime Minister, a lot of workers, even people who have jobs, they have been going to food banks more, right? Because just like I told you in this live, when it comes down to this Prime Minister, when it comes down to this specific Prime Minister, anytime there's an issue when it comes down to government spending and needing money, he doesn't do anything but just increase tax revenue. That's his answer. Raise the taxes, right? That's his way of getting out of a bind, as they say. And he didn't listen to people in his administration, and even so much to the lady by the name of Miss Freeland, who ended up herself turning in her resignation letter last year. Let me make sure. Yes, December the 16th. Okay. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. The lady that I'm talking about is this lady right here. Her name is Chrystia Freeland. Okay. She actually put her letter of resignation in December the 16th based off of all of this that's been going on. She's put her letter of resignation in. She's over it. Okay? And to cover herself, this is the actual letter of resignation. She stated, okay? She said to the Prime Minister, "You told me you no longer want me to serve as your finance minister. And you offered me another position in cabinet." Now, what was the other position in cabinet? He offered her a position that's below. So you know she wasn't going to take that. You know she wasn't going to take a position below. No. And then, to top it all off, you didn't even listen to me. So this is what she, like, you didn't listen to me. You didn't listen to the other people in your administration that gave you heads up and warnings, right? Not to raise the taxes, okay? Not to do certain things, but you did what you wanted to do. Now, how does she come into play now? Okay? She put in her letter of resignation back on December of the 16th, right? I've already told you Donald Trump has already said what he gonna do. Okay? You see, number one, seal this border and all that, right? You see it for yourself, okay? And he also said what? Make America dominant energy producer. Stop outsourcing and turn United States into a manufacturing superpower. Oh, last but not least, well, not last, but the main thing I'm going to talk about in this live, large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. But just like I told you guys, with this particular prime minister, he's already, his way of doing things in Canada is to raise taxes. That's his way of doing things. So with her, because he has put in his letter of resignation on Monday, Monday. Now she's coming back into talks of perhaps being voted to be prime minister. Now she's coming back into the spotlight. Okay? She's coming back in. Why is she coming back in? Because of her stance on a lot of things that were the opposite of this prime minister. And thank you guys for coming in. I'm going to go into the comments. Please like the live and subscribe to the channel. Narendra says, hit the like button. Yes, please hit the like button and subscribe. Northern Dame says, sketchy. Narendra says, Courtney, your opinion and thoughts are welcome. Speak freely. And shout out to Narendra for handling business in the chat. Thank you so much. Courtney says, love Tom Homan. He is the no-nonsense granddad. He has our back. And see, Courtney, I appreciate what you said. Narendra says, well said, Courtney. Now, this is why, okay, this gentleman right here, the prime minister, a lot of people are saying, right, he stated in his quote-unquote speech on Monday, it was for internal battles, right? But just like I told you guys, okay, there is going to be a huge, change here in America. And a lot of immigrants will be heading not only back west or Mexico or whatever. A lot of people also heading to where? Canada. Because Canada, according to him, said they're welcoming immigrants, right? They're welcoming, okay? You can be permanent or temporary, right? So how does that come into effect with, shout out to Courtney. Courtney says, love T. Homan. He's the no-nonsense granddad. He has our back. How does that play effect? They know he is not playing. They know Donald Trump is not this gentleman. Donald Trump, our elected president, he's not playing. Why? Because he has already put this person in position as Board of Khazar, and now they're just waiting for the House of Senate to sign everything off to make him the official Board of Khazar for Trump administration. Okay, this new administration coming in. Now, once that comes in, this is the same gentleman. I want to make sure we talk about his plans, Mr. Tom Homan. Okay. According to Homan, he says once he's fully in his role in dealing with undocumented immigrants, he will start doing what? He will start at worksite operations, because according to him, worksite areas are where people tend to find victims of trafficking and forced labor. He then said he will also start at sanctuary cities, because sanctuary cities, okay, he feels is where they house illegal undocumented criminals. Now, why does this come into place? Because remember I talked to you guys about New York, right? Remember I talked to you guys about New York, and I want to just go to it for you guys, for those who don't remember, but you should. But I'm going to go back to it when it comes down to Mayor Eric Adams. I'm going to get to it for you guys, and thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. When it comes down to New York, Mayor Eric Adams, he's already stated they had to cut the vouchers, or should I say the vouchers out for the undocumented immigrants because they were not getting the support from the federal government, okay, what was promised, okay, to the sanctuary cities. They were promised to receive, okay, federal funding, but they did not, quote unquote, what, receive it. Now, Tom Homan has already stated that he's basically going. New York will be one of the cities, one of the states where there's, they would say, handle, okay, this issue. I'll say it that way respectfully. And I want to actually show you guys when it comes down to Mayor Eric Adams, his actual stance on it, and he is in a whole nother mess himself, but we're not going to talk about that in regards to his issues, okay? Because I hope he don't think Donald Trump is going to get him out of that federal case. But anywho, I'm looking for the Mayor Eric Adams. I may not be able to find it for you guys in this live, but thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Trying to find it for you guys. Anyway, I digress. When it comes down to Tom Homan, he's already stated where he stands on this. He says these sanctuary cities are designed to limit cooperation with involvement in federal immigration enforcement actions. So he's already stating, like, these cities are already having issues. And to prove his case, right, you have had a number of crimes. You have had a number of crimes going on in New York, right? In New York. And even Governor Kathy Hochul, right? She has tried to deploy National Guardsmen in the subway system. And then even after the actions of an undocumented immigrant, she still tried to say that the New York subway system is safe. You know, it's just being very disrespectful to the victims. Okay, I'll say it that way. The victims in New York, based off of the crime, be it by undocumented immigrants or documented immigrants. The crime, you know, is out of control, right? It is out of control. Now, according to Tom Homan, he's saying that, well, we can alleviate some of this crime by dealing with this illegal, undocumented issue here in America. That's what he's saying. And like you see right here, I want to make sure you can see it. Homan stated that once he gets in, he's going to send the whole family. Okay, he stated that families as a whole should be deported together. So this is why, you know, people are just, you know, all in a scare, as they say, all in a scare, pure scare. And how does this affect Canada? We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Okay. It has already been stated when it comes down to Canada, and I want to show the gentleman, they have already made plans to have over 100 of officers at the border. Okay, they have already made a plan to send hundreds of police officers to the borders of Canada. Okay, if Donald Trump's program that causes migrants to head where? To Canada. Okay, so that is where we are right now. That is the back end of everything. That is what's going on right now. That is what is going on. And before, I want to actually just give you guys an idea of Donald Trump, where he stands with Canada. Okay, or should I say, with the prime minister specifically, okay, and how the prime minister has been handling matters in Canada. I'm going to play a clip in regards to Donald Trump speaking kind of shady. I would say it was a little shady. It's a little shady in regards to his views on the military, Canada's military, on how they run business, right? This is just kind of giving you an idea of where he stands on it, okay? Where he stands on it. And before I play this, this is fair use, fair use. Like I stated, Donald Trump, he mentioned how Canada doesn't have the best military. Like he mentioned it, but we're gonna let Donald Trump tell more about it. And like I said, this is Politic Graham. Thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. If you want to support even more, you can provide a super sticker or a super chat, or become a member to the platform. Thank you guys for coming in. And once again, this is fair use, fair use.
Canada is subsidized to the, by Canada. Canada is subsidized to the tune of about $200 billion a year, plus other things. They don't essentially have a military. They have a very small military. They rely on our military. It's all fine, but, they got to pay for that. It's very unfair. I have so many great friends. One of them is the great one, Wayne Gretzky. I said, run for prime minister. You'll win it'll take 2 seconds. But he said...
Now, if you hear what he just said, he said Wayne Gretzky, right? He was throwing a little shot, okay? Not physical shot, but, he was trying to be shady. I'll say it that way. When it comes down to the gentleman that I just showed you, this gentleman right here, okay? The Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. He was being a little shady, right? Because this particular press conference that you're looking at when Donald Trump is talking, this was held, okay? This was held the very next day, which was yesterday. This press conference that you're looking at, this was in response to this gentleman, the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, speaking about his resignation, okay? He's stating, I'm resigning. So Donald Trump comes in and basically says that, Canada needed a lot of work anyway. Their military is not up to par. They're not paying what they need to pay when it comes down to tariffs. Then to top it all off, he is dealing with, I told you guys, when it comes down to the border control. So he's basically stating that this prime minister wasn't up to par anyway. And the gentleman that he's mentioning, that he said he spoke to after this prime minister made the huge announcement Monday outside of his own house, stating that he was going to resign, okay? He stated that Donald Trump said, I called the guy that I think need to fill in the position to be Prime Minister of Canada. I told him, you can take the position of Prime Minister. If you don't want to take the position of Prime Minister, you can do governor, however you want to do it. That is what Donald Trump was talking about in this particular press conference yesterday. And just what was the Prime Minister's response? What was his response? And thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate the likes. Going back into the comments. I'm going into the comments now. I'm sorry. Courtney says, bye-bye, Trudy. Can I pin it for you, Courtney? And thank you guys for coming in. Courtney says, Canadians want to be under America's umbrella. I don't know. Look, you look. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But shouts out to Canada. I want people to understand this. This is a platform we welcome everybody. Shouts out to Canada, shouts out to India, because when I found out the things that this particular gentleman did, I was kind of, a little bit not on. I was a little bit upset. I'll just say it that way. I was kind of upset, based off of, like I discussed with you in this live. Okay, this is the same person that has painted his face brown. This is the same person that anytime Canada gets in a bind, the government gets in a bind, all he does, his reaction is increase tax revenue, right? This is the same person that even the people within his administration do not really have favor for him at all in a way. Why? Because I told you, even the finance minister, Miss Freeland, she turned in her resignation letter December the 16th, right? And top it all off, if that doesn't cut the cake, even while Canada is going through their economic issues, his response is, well, we want more people to come to Canada. We're welcoming permanent, temporary, whatever. But he still doesn't want to deal with the current Canadians that are within Canada who are having issues when it comes down to putting food on the table while they're working, okay? Okay, because I told you guys, workers in Canada, since his time as prime minister, they have already risen when it comes down to going to food banks. You have more hard workers, as they say, going to the food banks in Canada. But like I stated, even while he's noticing Canadians going through their struggles economically wise, right? His response is to increase taxes to support the government spending, or should I say overspending. Then to top it all off, we'll take more people. We'll take more people. So because of his actions of speaking it and coming with that type of energy, now you have Donald Trump coming in. He's the official elected president, right? Because Monday he was officially certified by, of all people, Miss Kamala Harris. Now because of all of that, now people have concerns. Are all the well, not all, but will a lot of migrants end up trying to leave America and rush to Canada? Right? All because of our soon to be recertified president, Donald Trump. And thank you guys for coming in. Narendra says, let me make this very simple. Undocumented and unchecked migration will change the whole demography of your country. And within a few years, you all will behave minority. Just look at Germany. Now, I'm glad that you spoke about Germany, Narendra, because when it comes down to Germany, it's going through its issues. All these countries are going through their own issues. And that's why Donald Trump says, I'm not finna be, in the words they say, I'm not finna be your brother's keeper. Because according to Donald Trump, it seems as if this administration, this current administration, Joe Biden administration, they have been providing aid to other countries and not focusing in with here in America. Right? So this is some of the reason why people voted for Donald Trump. But I will say this. It is going to be very interesting when January the 20th comes in. It's going to be very interesting. Why is it going to be very interesting? Because you already have one prime minister. He has basically just quit. Then to top it all off, prior to him turning his resignation, saying, he's resigning, I'll say it that way, he has said, we welcome everybody to come to Canada. So now you're going to have a number of migrants, and not even just migrants, you're going to even have, because I want to put this out there. I want people to understand this, right? Allegedly, I want to put that allegedly, but people have to understand it's not just only undocumented migrants leaving America. You do have Americans leaving America, right? Documented, born and raised here in America, they are either leaving America or have already left America in, these preconceived notions that, everybody clutch your pearls, pack your bags, leave. Is the politics is not conducive here in America. Let's go to another country to save us, save ourselves, right? So I want people to understand that it's not just undocumented immigrants. You do actually have Americans leaving America, right? You do have that. And like I stated, how will Canada deal with this? Like I stated, they have already said they will have over hundreds of police officers waiting at the border, okay? Because they are expecting it to be very, very interesting. And I'm saying it very interesting, okay? They're expecting it to be very interesting at the borders of Canada. So now you have Mexico. A lot will be going on in Mexico as is, right? Now you're going to have people heading to Canada like out of nowhere. You think you saw something with Mexico, you seeing things with Mexico go on. Just wait when it all unfolds, when January the 20th comes in. Just wait, because you already have New York. New York has already said, we will help you as far as getting a job, right? That's what Mayor Eric Adams said. We will assist when it comes down to work, right? When it comes down to these vouchers, when it comes down to other things that you once were receiving as an undocumented immigrant, you will no longer be receiving that here in the city of New York. So a lot of people are leaving, okay? Or planning on leaving. I'll say it that way. And thank you guys for coming in, going back into the comments. Grace, shout out to Grace and Grit. Grace and Grit says, good morning, beautiful souls, and good morning, Grace and Grit. Shout out to Grace and Grit. Wisdom Sparks Motivation says, good morning, Politic Graham. Good morning, Wisdom. Good morning. The Ranger says, he just sued Whoopi Goldberg for $80 million in a defamation. Whoa, Narendra, whoa. Did you just say he sued? Wait. Who? Did you say, are you saying Donald Trump sued Whoopi Goldberg for $80 million? Allegedly? What are you saying? And shout out to Joy for handling business in this live. Thank you so much. Shout out to Joy. Joy's not playing no games. Narendra is not playing no games. Shout out to the Mod Squad. Donna says, I disagree. Government works for the people. We are allowed to ask for the things that matter to us. Yes, you're absolutely right, Donna. Right? But here's my question. And this is for anybody that's in the live. This is my question. Do you think, because this is what Donald Trump is planning on doing, right? Do you think that the educational system should be dismantled and put back in the hands of the states, for the states to make their own decisions, okay, on a state-by-state basis, right? Or do you think that the education department should not be dismantled in regards to on a federal government level? Okay, so that's my question for you guys. Why do I ask that question? Because it won't just be the actual education department being dismantled. It would be other things that would be put into effect. Okay, because the next question is how will the Trump administration deal with the healthcare system, right? So it's a lot of things that will be playing effect, right? Playing into effect. And based off of Donald Trump, he has already stated that he will be reversing a lot of things that the Joe Biden administration has implemented. Okay, one of those things that Joe Biden implemented was when it comes down to EV, okay? EV, electric vehicles. Because according to Donald Trump, he believes in what? Natural gas. He believes in what? Drill, baby, drill. So it would be a lot of things that would be coming into effect or turning or changing around, as they say. Joy says, not only my channel I mod for. Oh, go ahead, Joy. I like people like you, Joy. Courtney Berger says 85%. Narendra says, Donna elaborates. Cannon says, shout out to Cannon. Cannon says, cannot trade with the King's boy without a serious understanding of sovereignty. Indian American inflow to new Trump administration. And shout out to Cannon. Now, I will say this. I really believe, and you guys can tell me if you concur or not, but I really do believe this prime minister, okay, has dug his own hole. And what do I mean when I say he dug his own hole? Based off of the conversation, the topics that I spoke about in this live, when it comes down to, how he responds to economic deficit within Canada, how he responds to, okay, issues. And I told you in this live, even with India, they really could care less for him, to be honest. They could really care if he resign, whatever happens to him. Why? Because this is the same person that has expelled Indians from Canada. This is the same person that has painted his face brown a number of times. And these were his words, not mine. Okay? He ended up apologizing for his actions of painting his face brown. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, this was one of the pictures that made headlines, okay, of himself. Okay, this made headlines in a 2019 report, but this matter happened in the year of 2001. Okay? So these are things that I say that when it comes down to the Prime Minister of Canada, he has already, dug his own hole. But the question is, what is he going to do moving forward? Okay? Moving forward. Because according to him, he has stated that there has been internal battles. That's what he stated outside of his own house at his press conference when he announced his resignation Monday. There has been, quote unquote, internal battles. But just like I discussed with you guys in live, there has been more than, quote unquote, internal battles. Okay? There has been battles in other countries pertaining to him. And one of the countries pertaining to him who's more vocal, I'll say it that way, has been our soon-to-be official president. He is the elected president that was recertified Monday, Donald Trump. He has made a number of comments when it came down to the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. Okay? And thank you guys for coming in. Liz, shout out to Liz. Liz says, your U.S. intelligence agencies also agree that India's government I don't want to say it now, Liz. Now, wait a minute, Liz. Wait a minute. Wait, I have not said any of what Liz is saying. I have not. No. You are not going to get me looking like this guy. No. I have not. We welcome all views and opinions. This is true. Shout out to Liz. We welcome all views and opinions. Okay, this is a place where you have your voice and you do it respectfully. But like I stated, I am not going to be looking like him on this YouTube platform in these YouTube streets. No. No. Okay. Donna says Trudeau. Narendra says Liz, they thought that Indian intelligence was involved, but then they redacted their statement. Gotta pin it. Shout out to Narendra. Gotta pin it. Got to pin it. Cannon Sanders says Canada citizens cannot speak out against anything without a visit from the powers that be. Radio Free Canada doesn't exist. And I'm glad that you put that, Ken. And this is why I started a platform like this for people to be a voice, right? Because one thing about politics, people are afraid, and just like you stated in the comments, people, especially in Canada, feel like they don't have a quote unquote voice, right? You have a number of Canadians feel like that, and maybe that's why Justin Trudeau has been in office almost 10 years. And prior to him being in office almost 10 years in different roles, as they say, before him being prime minister in 2015, I will say it that way, okay? Prior to that, his father was in politics. So when it comes down to this person that we're speaking of, it's kind of expected for him to do better than what he has been doing when it comes down to the country Canada, right? Because he comes from a family leverage. Like, you're supposed to have a better idea of how to deal with, issues. And his way of dealing with issues, like I stated, is, if the government needs money and is overspending, then just increase the tax revenue. That's his response. And then even like I stated, one of his other controversies, this is the same person. I want people to understand, this is the same person that charge fees to charities and school boards when he would be speaking at engagements. Okay? This is the person that we're talking about. This is the person that we're talking about. Okay? And that is why I spoke about, and I gotta do more research because I break stuff down, why I specifically hinted on Mr. Denzel Washington, okay, yesterday, when he, as well as 18 other recipients, received the highest citizen medal, Presidential Medal of Freedom, over the weekend, right? And I looked him up. I looked Denzel Washington up. It's alleged that his net worth is $300 million. And remember what I said, that the current president that's passed away, that they are celebrating him for 6 days, Jimmy Carter, okay? His last funeral will be tomorrow, okay? He will have 3 funerals. He has had the first one in Atlanta, Georgia. He will have the second one in Washington, D.C., okay? And he will have the last one back here in Georgia, in his hometown, Plains, Georgia. And the gentleman that I'm speaking about, I want to make sure I can show it to you guys. The gentleman that I'm speaking about is Mr. Jimmy Carter. And I spoke about him, is Mr. Jimmy Carter, okay? And I spoke about Jimmy Carter, and this was him, when him and his beautiful wife that passed away back last year, okay? His beautiful wife that passed away. I spoke about them, right? But Denzel Washington's worth $300 million, and according to reports, allegedly Jimmy Carter, he was allegedly his personal net worth was over $10 million. So that's kind of giving you an idea, right? And that's what I spoke about when it comes down to how is it that Jimmy Carter did more after his presidency. Take out the politics. We're not going to talk about the politics, right? Because we can all agree or disagree that, he made some decisions, that let's just say Donald Trump has spoke about. But I don't want to speak about that, not today. We'll talk about Jimmy Carter. We'll talk about some of the decisions that people were questioning that he made back in 1979, 1977, okay? We will talk about that when we let the man rest in the ground, okay? Let him rest a little bit, okay? He has, he did 77 years with his wife, okay? He made it to live to see 100 years old. He was the oldest former president to still be alive, okay? So I want to give him that respect, right? I want to give him that much respect. But yes, there was some things that he did, as far as in politics, while some people will say, he wasn't the quote unquote best president, okay? He wasn't the best. But I don't want to talk about that part. What I'm here to talk about when it comes down to, just to let you guys know, Jimmy Carter did more for just not here in America, but 41 countries, okay? When it comes down to building houses, when it comes down to, fighting diseases, okay? In other countries, he's done more than a lot of these people that Joe Biden had nominated over the weekend. And one of the people that I spoke about was Denzel Washington, because I love his network. It is allegedly worth $300 million. Okay. Now, what you do with your money, you do with what you do with your own money. Yes, that is true. But me personally, I'm not going to take a medal such high standings, right? When I told you guys, the only thing that the WhiteHouse.gov stated when it came down to Denzel Washington, as far as his the reason Joe Biden nominated him, right, as far as his accomplishments, was he won 2 Tony Awards, he has won 2 Golden Globes, and he has won an Oscar. I'm just saying this, right? Just because you win awards in acting, how does that affect you and I, right? How does that affect people around the world? Because you won an award, does that really affect me? But when it comes down to the 39th president, Jimmy Carter, this is a man that was still building houses with his wife, okay? All the way in their 90s, okay? In their 90s. And even here in Atlanta, this is the same man that built 21 homes, right? 21 homes with his wife, as well as, okay, as well as one of the Habitat, okay, the organization that he helped founded, they helped build 21 homes within 1 week. Okay, I want guys to put that into perspective, right? But I have not seen any of that when it comes down to some of the people that Joe Biden nominated. I'm just going to be honest. And yesterday's live, okay, somebody in the comments stated that Denzel Washington, I need to do my research. Denzel Washington, he donated a whole wing of a hospital. Okay, so we're going to compare a whole wing of a hospital to 41 countries. Wow. But anywho, moving forward, okay, and I don't know if you noticed this, you guys, I've been talking about Jimmy Carter every day because this is his 6-day week of celebration of his legacy, because until, he has his last funeral service session back here in Georgia, I wanted to actually, speak about him, when I do my lives, right? I want to give him that much respect. Now, when it comes down to Donald Trump, I want to make sure people understand this, okay? Donald Trump did speak on some things, okay, in regards to what he felt that Jimmy Carter did not do that caused him to, let's just say, he wants to undo what Jimmy Carter had signed off on in the year of 1977 that became official in 1979. Okay, let's just say it that way. So Donald Trump has already, put it out there that when he goes into office, when he gets officially all the way into office January the 20th, he will, what he's planning, he wants to undo. I'm not gonna say what, okay? You can say it in the comments, in the chat, right? But he does, or he hopes to undo one of the things that Jimmy Carter had signed off on. And in his words, according to Donald Trump, he said that Jimmy Carter, when he was president, gave something away for $1. Now, this is what Donald Trump said. I don't believe Jimmy Carter gave it away for $1. I'm not sure. Look, I'm not sure. But I will say this. Okay. The bill that was signed in 1977, it was introduced in 1977, but it was signed in 1979 by Jimmy Carter. Okay, it took years for it to get officially in. Okay, this particular bill, I'm giving you hints, but because of this huge bill that Jimmy Carter enacted, right now we in a position where Donald Trump is stating that China is playing a big factor to a bill that Jimmy Carter signed decades ago. So that's why I say I can't wait. I cannot wait till January the 20th pops off. I'll say it that way, rolls in, because it's going to be a lot of things, it's going to be a lot of changes. I'll say it that way. It's going to be, some people might say it's for the bad. I say we need some change immediately, because if people can say what they want to say, but let's be honest, like, we had a lot going on when this person was in office as vice president, okay? And she has a few more days, okay? A few more days, several days before she gets replaced by J.D. Vance. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Hello, Inner Beauty Blessings. Shout out to Inner Beauty Blessings. Narendra says, I remember that we were like, is he mocking us Indians after we have given him a pricely state income welcome? And this is why people do not really, have any sympathy for the Prime Minister of Canada. They don't really have any sympathy for him, right? Because he has dug himself in a hole at this point, and based off of how Donald Trump's views of him, like, it is what it is. Peace be unto you. Peace be unto you. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be honest, and you guys can tell me if you agree or not. If the Prime Minister of Canada would have done the things that he did in Canada, if he would have done those things here in America, I pretty much promise you, he would not be standing in front of his house, standing behind a podium, okay, in front of his house, announcing his resignation, okay? Because if you guys see in the present, they are already putting fences around the White House, preparing for Donald Trump. So just imagine what would have happened if Justin Trudeau would have been the president here in America. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And I'm trying to get to, where are you? I want people to really sit back and think about that. Really sit back and think about, what if he would have been here in America? What if, just think about it. What if Justin Trudeau would have been the president here in America and would have carried on how he carried on, or should I say how he carries on in Canada. I'm just being honest. I'm just being, and I even say it this way. Even if he would have been in India, even India wouldn't have allowed him to move the way he's been moving in Canada. I'm serious. India wouldn't have allowed it. United States wouldn't have allowed it. And Mexico darn sure wouldn't have allowed it for him to move the way he has been moving in his role. Like, no. I'm sorry. It just wouldn't have happened. And thank you guys for coming in. I'm going into the comments. Shout out to Power. Power says him wearing brown face is the problem, but not the 24/7. Now, shout out to Power, okay? And thank you for coming in. Roland says increasing tax revenues to pay your bills is tease prices is legit responsible. What? So you want, okay, so basically, Roland, now I just want you guys to just tell me, look, shout out to Roland. So you feel that raising taxes anytime the economy is in trouble, that is the answer. Because we have to really sit back and look at it, like even here in America, right? Military aid has been sent to other countries, and we still do not have things getting dealt with here in our country. But so your answer would be raise the taxes. Look, you tell me. Courtney Berger says great pick. Cannon Sanders says ginger ale. And Northern Dame, you be safe. You be safe. Thank you for coming in, Northern Dame. Shout out to Northern Dame. Cannon says the investment money is going to the port holding centers. Wait a minute. The investment money is going to department internment and holding centers. Courtney says, did you see the Nigerian immigrants saying I'm going home, it's too cold? Wait a minute. What? I'm not going to read. Look, I got to read it before I read it aloud, I see. Candace Sanders says, tech bros are already on their way to citizenship. I'm glad you mentioned that, Candace, because that goes to the H-1B visas, right? And that is one of the things that the quote-unquote Elon Musk as well as Vivek, they are in agreement with, okay? Art of War says, good morning, news lady. Good morning, Art of War. Thank you for coming in. Shout out to Art of War. Craig says she froze bank accounts and was okay with blowing past the 40 billion deficit to 62 billion. She has no experience in finance despite the hype. Are you speaking of the finance minister, this lady right here, Craig? Shout out to Craig. Are you speaking of Miss Freeland? Are you speaking to Miss Freeland? Now, let me know if that's who you're speaking about, because like I stated, this current Prime Minister, Mr. Justin Trudeau, he has already stated his resignation, okay? And she is one of the people or persons that they're speaking about to take his position. So, are you speaking of her, Miss Freeland, the former finance minister? Is that what you're talking about? And thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. And I'm going to pin that Craig. Shout out to Craig. The Ranger says Trudeau administration promised a path to citizenship for a lot of Indian students, but when they paid their college fee and arrived in Canada, they changed the immigration laws. Whoa. Whoa. Are you serious? Whoa. Now see, now look now. That's news to me. See, this is why I want people to really sit back and just see what's being said in the chat. Listen to what I'm stating on my end from what I did my research on, and see for yourself the things that this prime minister has done in Canada. Look at what he's done, and this is why Donald Trump, is sitting back and saying that, you just get ready. He's basically, saying to anybody that wants to question what I'm planning on doing to support and help our country here in America, sit back and look at what this prime minister has done to Canada, or lack thereof, right? And thank you, Narendra, for that, because I'm like, I promise you I didn't know that, because I knew, India was already like over him anyway, right? Based off of his other controversies that he has done in the past, and has stated about Indians, and even expelling some Indians from Canada, right? But I did not know that, in your words, his administration promised a path to citizenship for a lot of Indian students, but when they paid their college fee and arrived to Canada, that's when this quote-unquote Trudeau administration changed the immigration laws. And it's odd that you say that, because I'm trying to get to where I wanted to actually show you the gentleman. I got a lot of heat. Okay, I got a lot of heat. That's why I have to be very careful when I speak about these gentlemen, right? When I speak about this gentleman right here, Vivek. Oh, I got heat. I got heat in one live. I got really heat in one live when I spoke about him. It was over with. It was over with. Because when it comes down to Vivek, he was the one that put out that huge, post stating that American culture is mediocre, and stating this is why companies are reaching out to other countries, foreigners, to come in to fill in the positions, okay? To fill in the tech positions, okay? So I got really heated. I mean, I got a lot of heat in that live when I did a conversation about that. Why? Because when it comes down to Vivek as well as Elon Musk, they do both support expanding, okay, the H-1B visa. And what is the H-1B visa? H-1B visa is the visa that allows foreigners to come in if they have advanced degrees, if they have a minimum of a bachelor's degree in specific areas of specialty, okay? So minimum of a bachelor's degree, minimum. And according to Vivek and Elon, they wish for the H-1B visas to be expanded, okay, as far as the cap goes, because the current cap for that is, I think, I want to say it's either 80,000. That's the cap. 80. I want to say, no, that's a lie. I want to say 65,000. That's the cap. I want to say 65,000. I got to get back into it, but they want to expand it. Eyes of Art says, good morning, Graham and chat. Good morning, Eyes of Art. Thank you for coming in. The Ranger says, good morning, moderators. Yes, shout out to the moderators. Joyce says, I'll be in and out. Easy Peasy. Easy Peasy says, hello, what's good? Shout out to Easy Peasy. The Ranger says, why do the citizens of the United States have to take up the burden of illegal immigration? Why should any country do it? Immigration laws are made for a reason. Why circumvent it and bring unvetted people in? Great question. Candace says, I like it so much here. I hit the thumbs up button, and thank you. Please hit that thumbs up button, you guys. Thank you guys for coming in. Cannon says Gretzky. Thank you so much, Ken. I know what you're talking about. Thank you, Gretzky. Let me go ahead and fix that. But thank you so much. Shout out to Cannon Sanders. The Ranger says, why I like Trump, because he took a uniform for his country. He is not doing it for the money or fame. He cares about his country, a true patriot. And that's why I want people to understand, when it comes down to Donald Trump, people have to understand this. When you're a president, and I want to get back to, when you are a president, you don't make a lot of money. Like, as far as monetary wise, you don't make all of this, right? Because if we want to put it out there, Donald Trump is worth more than our previous presidents, right? He's worth more, as far as if we're going off just net worth, right? So he cannot be doing it for the quote unquote money, right? He can't. That can't be the reason. And great point, Narendra, like, because I'm telling you right now, I mean, the things that he has been through when it comes down to the attempts, as they say, a lot of people would not still go and run for president and still move forward if they were Donald Trump. I mean, look at what the Canadian Prime Minister has done. Look at he's already standing in front of his house saying, I resign. But he hasn't been nowhere near the level of what Donald Trump has experienced. I'm just being honest. He has not seen or even smelt, okay, the things, the obstacles and trials that Donald Trump has, quote unquote, been through. I'm just saying. But thank you guys for coming in. Scott says he needed to resign 5 years ago. Scott says horrible, and you can't speak freely anymore. And thank you for saying that, Scott. And see, this is why I tell people, we welcome here on this platform, we welcome everybody. This is a platform that welcomes everybody, right? And you're absolutely right. It is really sad that, when it comes down to in Canada, Canadians don't have that voice, right? They don't have that voice. And even when it comes down to even in the government system of Canada, based off the actions, okay, of the people that are under the administration within Justin Trudeau's administration, they seem like they don't even have a voice, right? Because I just told you guys in this live, Miss Freeland, she resigned, okay? And she was the finance minister. He wasn't even listening, to her views, her opinion in her role that she had. So much, according to what she said in her letter of resignation on December the 16th of last year, she said he wanted her to step down because he wanted to put her in a lower position. Okay? And shout out to Scott McClure. Thank you so much, Scott, for coming in. Please hit that like button, you guys. Isabart says, shout out to Canada. Narendra says, fact, there is a fringe element in Canada that opposes India. They have even openly threatened to. Whoa, what? Wow. Look, I can't even repeat. You have to read it in the chat. You have to read it in the chat what Narendra said. Narendra, you be coming with heavy gems. Okay. Narendra says, shout out to Pizza Hut. And I appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you so much for coming in. Johnny says Trump is going to do the same for millionaires and billionaires. Art of War says please be respectful in the comments, and don't forget to like the live stream as you come in. Shout out to Art of War, got a pin it. Thank you so much, Art of War, got a pin that. And thank you guys for coming in. Hello, Patriot. Patriot says, good morning, Politic and friends. Good morning, Patriot. Thank you so much for coming in. Magical says, oh, like the bushes, basically. All right. Now, thank you for coming in, Magical. Please be respectful. Now, we could take it there if you want to take it there. Okay? We could really take it there since you want to play Pinocchio. Okay? We can really take it there, Magical. We can take it there because I want to let you know, okay, when I do my little hit on Miss Hillary Clinton, okay, I want to see what you have to say since you want to throw little darts at the bushes. Okay, I hope you come back and don't hide into the bushes somewhere. But thank you for coming in. It's all love, Magical. It's all love. Yes, you are absolutely right, Courtney. I'm not going to repeat it because I'm planning on doing a live on the whole topic of what you mentioned in the chat. I don't want to say it, but you are absolutely right. Shout out to Courtney Berger. You're absolutely right. And thank you guys for coming in. And hello, Tisha. Tisha says, that was a show with the Medals of Freedom. I like Denzel and Michael J. Fox, but George Soros. Yes, that's what I'm saying, Tisha. Like, what in the world was Joe Biden doing? Like, it just seems as if, so you just giving medals to anybody at this point. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Okay, because my whole thing is, if you're the way that I'm just gonna call it a show. Shout out to Tisha. I'm gonna highlight what you said. It was a spectacle in my personal view, because at this particular point, I'm just looking at the whole thing as if, well, you already pardoned your son Hunter Biden, so you're gonna give him a medal too? We're just handing out medals to randoms at this point. We're handing out medals to randoms. Yes, and I'm glad that you guys are speaking on that topic. I don't want to give the secret out, but yes, we're going to talk about that topic in the next live. Joyce says trolls have right to their opinion as long as it is respectful. Yes, please be respectful, ladies and gentlemen. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much. Please hit that like button. Tisha says, Trudeau didn't help the natives in Canada. Look what he did to the truckers. And this is why people at this point really don't feel sorry, okay? They really don't feel sorry for Trudeau, right? They don't, right? Because of, just like you guys are discussing, it's a lot of things you guys have discussed that I'm in complete awe. I'm just really in complete shock, because I thought it was a lot when I mentioned some of the things that Mr. Trudeau has done in his past, right? But that is on a whole different level when it comes down to what's being discussed in the live. And the person that we're talking about is this gentleman right here, who is the current Prime Minister of Canada, who has put in his resignation, or made a press conference back on Monday that he was resigning. Candace says Americans have to be careful. Every country does not have the rights we have. And I'm glad that you said that, Candace, because a lot of people, they are just leaving, going to other countries, and then they're talking so bad about America. But see, this is my thing, right? And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this, and shout out to Grace and Grit, because I use your prayer to be today's motivation. today's motivation quote. I always give quotes every live, at the end of every live. But I want people to understand this when it comes down to what Candace said. I had to highlight it. Americans have to be careful. Every country does not have the rights we have. Please, people, before you go to these other countries, please do your research. Please do your genuine research on these countries. Please be informed on the culture, on the laws, right? And also, last but not least, be able to speak the language. And the reason I'm mentioning this, right, there was an American by the name of Elliot Eastman. He was a upcoming YouTube content creator here on YouTube that traveled to a place in the Philippines called Cebuco, and he was an American that was not in touch with the Philippine culture, okay, and areas of where to go and what happened to him, okay. He was 26 years old. He ended up marrying a woman that he had only known for 1 year. He left here in America, went to the Philippines, and in Cebuco, he ended up marrying a woman that was of a specific religion. I don't want to get into the religion part of it, but if you look up Cebuco, and I will type it in, for you guys to look it up for yourself, because this is a very, let's just say it is a very, how do I say it, is a very controversial location that even people who are from the Philippines, they won't even go there, right? All areas are not bad. I'm not saying that, but even people who are from Philippines would advise foreigners, right, to be very careful when you go to places such as Cebuco in the Philippines. And why do I say that? Because of an American by the name of Elliot Eastman, because of his, I will be honest, his, ignorance when it came down to not informing himself of how to, what the culture is as far as the language, how to maneuver yourself in that country. He ended up, getting kidnapped. And this was a few months back, getting kidnapped. And to this day, they have not found him. Mind you, I want to say this. He ended up leaving America, moving over there, marrying a woman over there, right? And now they still have not found him. But they ended up arresting some individuals that were part of that, kidnapping. I'll say it that way. Okay, so shout out to Candace Sanders when they said in the chat, Americans have to be careful. Every country does not have the rights we have. And just because it looks green it looks green over there, but get over there. Okay, go over there first. See, that's why I say, I love my country. No country's perfect, but you can't run from yourself. If you're going to leave this country and you want to go to another country, that's on you. All I'm saying is just do your research, learn the culture, learn the language, learn the people, be part of it. Don't go to a country, right, where you're flashing your money, where you're moving a certain way. And in Elliot Eastman's case, if you don't believe me, you can look him up. I mean, he was moving very careless when it came down to saying how much money he was making, how much money he was spending, how much he was charging the actual people in the area that him and his wife had lived in. Like he was doing a lot of recklessness. I'll say it that way, right? And thank you guys for coming in. Yes, hit that like button. Darnell says, y'all hear Trump? Trump on cam say he can't do anything about groceries or rent. And shout out to Darnell. You're absolutely right. He did. And I think that video clip that you're speaking of, he did state, that he cannot say, I'll say it this way, he cannot make any promises. Okay, he did say that in an interview. I'll show that clip. I may show that clip tomorrow. But yes, you're absolutely right. But I'm just gonna be very frank when I say this. What president can make huge promises like that? I mean, Donald Trump is coming at least I can say this. He's coming with agendas, and at least he's coming with something. At least he's want to do a change. He's not coming in. He's not coming in. You know, just with the same old thing. We have to have something different, some type of change, okay? Because as you can see, what we've been doing over the years, right? What we've been doing over the years is not, it has not been conducive. It has not been helping. And remember what I said. Look at what we have here in America. You have a lot, you have not a lot, but some Americans, you know, they are leaving America, right? They're leaving. And I'm just putting it out there because I'm going to say this. Some people say, oh, some Americans are leaving because we have a new president coming in, but you also have to take into perspective, okay, what has been going on for the past 4 years? Because if it was so good here in the past 4 years, people wouldn't be leaving. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. People want to try to throw it on Donald Trump, but really ask yourself this question: would they really be leaving if inflation wasn't like it was now in this administration? Just really sit back and ask. Going back into the chat, Tisha says Donald Trump's not perfect. Thank you, Tisha. Even read. You're saying exactly what I just said. Tisha says Trump's not perfect, but why don't you mention the black lady? Oh God. Why don't you mention the black lady that was squatting in the one building and he let her live there for a year free after people complained? Oh, whoa, 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 woo, woo. Or the other, oh boy, helped him. I don't want to repeat it, Tisha. Ooh, you guys not play no games. Shout out to the mod. Shout out to you guys in the chat. I love it. And shout out to Darnell as well. We welcome all. Look, we welcome everybody. Not says, because he doesn't know what the doesn't show. Look, I can't look. I'm being very careful. What does the MSM stand for? Not. Darnell says to save face is the only reason, especially after his lawsuit. Darnell, you talking about Donald Trump? Darnell says yes, him and Elon Musk. Then Trump goes on air backing them. Now, I will say this, right? When I do my little reports, because I want to be non-biased, right? Okay, I did speak about Vivek in a live, so I'm not going to hit hard on Vivek and them. I'm not. But I will do a live talking about, you know, some Democrats. Yes, and how some Democrats, you know, work with some Republicans, as they say, right? So I'm just going to be, you know, I want to be fair. I want to be, you know, I don't want to be, you know, like I'm pro-Democrat or pro-Republican. I want to be fair across the board. So if I'm going to call Republicans out on this, I'm going to call Democrats out on this. So I'm giving people a heads up. Yes, we're going to have a conversation about some Democrat, okay? It's a Democrat, some recent ones. And thank you guys for coming in. Thank you for the like. Shout out to Angel. Angel says Trump's an actor in for himself. Woo. Shout out to Jim. Thank you for coming in, Jim. Thank you so much for coming in, Jim. Jim says, oh, Lord. Thank you for coming in. Tisha says, hit that like button. Jim says, I know indigenous people who have fuel coming out of their kitchen and bathroom faucets due to Trudeau's lies about oil lines. And this is why, and thank you, Jim. I'm glad you came in here because where you know, you would know about this person here. You would know. But I'm going to go down. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody for coming in. Shout out to everybody. I think it's about that time. Courtney Berger says, you could pay rent if we weren't taxed so much, plus our safety net has been shattered. And thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate the support. Please hit that like button. Now, as I stated, today's motivational quote is from, let me make sure I take this off Sabuku, because you don't want to talk about Sabuku with this. Today's motivational quote is a prayer that one of our supporters by the name of Grace and Grit, I don't know if you're still in here, Grace and Grit, spoke about in yesterday's live. That will be today's motivation for us to start our day. Okay. Landon says, I just couldn't vote for the same guy as David Duke. And thank you guys for coming in. And today's motivation is a prayer by one of our supporters and subscribers on this channel, on this platform, by the name of Grace and Grit. And it goes by this: Dear Lord, grant us the wisdom to understand each other. Help us to communicate with love and respect. Amen. I'll read it again. Dear Lord, grant us the wisdom to understand each other. Help us to communicate with love and respect. Amen. And that is what I hope and wish, that, whatever you do today, the rest of this week, you do it respectfully, and, you speak up, right? You speak up, because we talked about that word of respect, love and respect, right? And as I always add these other quotes, these topics, words of motivations, okay? Rule number 1, eliminate the if, focus on the present. Rule number 2, focus on self, not others. Rule number 3, tell yourself, I will learn something new every day. Rule number 4, tell yourself, I will not get upset at what I don't have control of. And last but not least, advocate for yourself and speak up, because if you don't speak up for yourself, who will? And thank you guys for coming in. Wait a minute, who the one saying Diddy? Oh my goodness. Cannon says, did he do it or not? And Narendra says, did he with the horse? Oh my goodness. Otto, I blame you, Otto. Otto says, you could vote for Diddy supporters though. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. If you wish, you can donate a super sticker or a super chat, or join the membership team. Thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate this support. Shout out to Narendra. Shout out to Cannon Sanders. Shout out to Otto with the Diddy jokes. Diddy done. Shout out to Landon. Shout out to Courtney Berger. Shout out to Joy. Shout out to Darnell Dyson. Shout out to Tisha. Shout out to Bilbo. Shout out to Vic Morrison. Hey, Morrison, thank you for coming in. Shout out to Jim Stone. Shout out to Andre. Shout out to Dharma. Shout out to, I'm reading everybody that came in here. Shout out to Athlete. Shout out to John VA. Shout out to Going Up. Shout out to Fool. That's all I can say in your name. I don't know if I can say the other part of your name. Not trying to get in trouble. Shout out to L. Shout out to Inner Beauty Blessings. Shout out to Welcome. Shout out to everybody that's came into this live. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Shout out to Johnny. Shout out to everybody that has came into this live. Shout out to Patriot. Shout out to Narendra. Shout out to Eyes of Art. Shout out to Grace and Grit. Shout out to Derek. Shout out to Scott McClure. Thank you, everybody that came into this live. I appreciate the support. And thank you so much. It was a lot today. Thank you guys. I will try to come today. I'm not sure. Don't hold your breath. Look, you know the game. Candace Sanders says the one thing that is always the same, no matter the country, children's laughter. Wow, that's a good thing to say. Shout out to Sanders. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming in. I appreciate it so much. And always remember, always what? Have a peace of mind and always be in peace. This is, wait a minute, Tisha. Tisha. God. Tisha. Oh my goodness. Shout out to Tisha. You always come at the end. Oh my goodness. Tisha. Tisha says, trying to see if I can read it. It won't let me go down. Let me see if it'll let me go down. Tisha says, love this channel. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much, Tisha. Shout out to Tisha May 83 for the love and support for the super chat sticker. Thank you so much. Big hugs, big love. Thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate it. Let me see if it'll let me do it. Oh, thank you. Yes, Narendra says, thanks, Tisha. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Look, thank you guys. Thank you so much. And as I said, always remember to have a peace of mind. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. I will try to do this. Look, I would do this. Look, I would try to break up my lives in parts. And you guys tell me if you think I should do that. Because I was thinking about maybe I should break it out in parts. Like 1 hour for this topic in the morning. Then another hour for this topic in the middle of the day. Then another hour for this topic. Maybe I should break it out in hours. Or, you guys tell me what you think. Should I keep doing what I've been doing? Or should I break it out in parts? Because I'm trying to, play with it. No Diddy, but I'm trying to play with it, okay? With some things as far as, as far as my platform goes. Because I was thinking about that. But, anywho, if please put it in the chat. Candace says, good 2025 to you all. Yes. Yes, you guys. And like I said, please put in the comments after this live in what you guys think. You guys think I should break it up in parts where I do lives throughout the day? Right? But I'm telling you, if I do it that way, the live's not going to be no 3 hours and 2 hours. It's going to be like an hour in the morning, an hour in the middle of the day, and an hour in the afternoon. It's going to be broken up like that. You tell me what you guys think. Put it in the comments when this live ends. Replay this live. Support. Thank you for the support. I see the light. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support, everything that you do. And always remember, right? Support, love, and respect. Thank you, guys. Always have peace of mind. This is Politic Graham. Bye. Bye, bye, bye.